Shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. All right, Hebrews, there's a lot going on in the world. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world. And it's getting close to our time. Our time can be ushered in at any time for those that believe in Yah. You know, if you've been following me and been understanding my mission and what I've been trying to do, you're going to say, yes, it's a possibility. Because I'm, trying to kick it with the peoples that, got the power to make this happen. Almighty Yah got the power to make this happen. This is just about opening their eyes up. And then they know what's happening. What's happening is that Ashkenazi is surrounded. Now, people can play that, they can play that game like, oh, we all together and there's peace everywhere and good to mankind and all of those stuff. They can play that road if they want to, but that ain't what's happening. That ain't what's happening behind the scene. That ain't what's happening behind the scene, and everything been basically functioning by proxy since we Israelites abandoned the covenant for Egyptian religion way back in during the Babylonian Wars around about 588 BC. That after we Israelites abandoned our heritage to the Babylonian scribes and were driven out by Ashkenazi under the name Scythian, that those two groups started proxy wars fighting for the Israelite heritage. And it's quite natural that would happen, being that the Sephardim, the Sephardim are Amorites and had connection to the promised land, and how did they connection went all the way, to Babylon, where Ashkenazi, kind of like got his starting point coming in to our Israelite heritage, and that these Sephardims, the Sephardims didn't run out or vacate the land during the Babylonian Wars. They just kicked back in the cut, like they kicked back in the cut after King Josiah had cleaned the land up of the false religion and how that they was still around. Them people's been in our heritage, man. I got plenty of videos explaining how the Amorites got into our Israelite heritage after Exodus. Immediately they got into our Israelite heritage, and we made agreements with them that would eventually destroy us and get us driven out the land, and then our heritage and everything fell to their hands. And then after we was driven out during the Babylonian Wars by none other than Ashkenazi, we was driven out during the Babylonian Wars for doing Egyptian religion. I ain't even mad at Ashkenazi. Matter of fact, man, I got love for them because they completed Almighty Yah mission with driving us wicked Israelites up out the promised land and into the curses. So we can't be mad at them, but who we should be mad at is the deception that was played on us, and how the Sephardim are in our heritage and still got our heritage and was never supposed to have been there from the beginning. Now, this is what I want to explain to the Israelite community, is that them two groups, been fighting over the Israelite heritage for a long time, and then how Ashkenazi wrestled control from the Sephardi groups. And they still fighting over the promised land, but they fighting indirectly through proxy religions that they created long time ago. Oh man, I got videos explaining this and going into this, how Christianity was created up under Ashkenazi guidance and control. Scythopolis, man, if you look up Scythopolis, you're gonna see all the main people that made Christianity up was there in Scythopolis way before the Council of Nicaea, and how the people that contributed to Christianity hung around Scythopolis or hung around the Scythians or Ashkenazi. And then, man, Man, I got videos explaining that after the Babylonians were defeated by the Persians, and then how Ashkenazi was with the Greeks destroying the Persians. And then I explained how the exiles, the little 1%, were destroyed. You know, they was destroyed. You know, they got destroyed real fast, you know, for mixing off and messing off. You know, it couldn't be two heritages, one broken and the covenant not broken. And how the 99% had went into Africa during the Babylonian Wars. Well, Ashkenazi chased us out, and then they settled in what's called Beth Shean, or ancient Beth Shean, or Scythopolis. So, you know, they would stay there, man. That's, you know, that was they spot. The Discopolis cities. Scythopolis was the head of the Discopolis cities, and Christianity get it started there. You think it was started in Egypt, but actually it kind of started in Scythopolis, you know, and then, you know, the hearsays started in Egypt and in Turkey and so forth, but the actual forming and putting it together, because the Ashkenazi gonna have biblical history and gonna be none had access to Israelite history books and so forth from being in the land since the Babylonian Wars. You know, by the time, you know, Christianity get its start, man, Ashkenazi would have been in the Israelite heritage almost 500 years. 500 years. And then how Christianity was started, men up under their guys and up under their direction. All right, well, the other group who we originally abandoned our heritage to during the Babylonian Wars, who settled in our land, the scribes, the ones, the most important ones, the scribes from Sephardim. The scribes from Sephardim settled in our land, and then man, they was book writers, and then they got in our heritage in 722 BC, and then, you know, this what makes, you know, the United States, Babylon, a part of the Babylonian heritage, is because the Babylonian scribes from Sephardim got infused in the Israelite heritage, and then they was chased out the promised land in 70 AD by Proxy war, and then they went, you know, to Spain and Portugal, they old Amorite Phoenician hangouts, and then went over to the Americas, and then, you know, founded its a whole administrative order in America, functioned identical to ancient Babylon in ancient Egypt. Ancient Babylon in ancient Egypt, and it's because that these peoples right there from Sephardim, the Sephardims, the Sephardists, went to the Americas and, you know, started the Babylonian system. And then, man, I want to show you Israelites that if you type in Sephardi, man, if you type in Sephardi, man, it's gonna translate into Sephardim. Let me do it. Any computer do it. Watch this. Sephardim translate into Sephardi. All right, now look. You see me type in Sephardim. Now watch this. Sephardi. See what I'm saying? That's those the people from Sephardim are the Sephardis, and then, you know, they would go create a religion later on after they got themselves, man, together. And then I can show how that it's easily understood how biblical history got over into Edom's hand and into the Arabic population, the Edomites, and from Petra and all them points, you know what I'm saying? And we know that Eliphaz, Edom's son, is live here, and that his sons Teman and Yemen is Teman and Omar, and man, I got all this all documented about how this is where Ishmael and Edom infused, as well as the Hittite population and the Moabites, man, and all them got infused, man, in these parts right here, man, in these parts right here, man, they got all infused. they got all infused, and Edom men is infused with all them. You know what I'm saying? Those are the Edomites, you know. And then I can show how that they got our heritage, and then, you know, that would be the Sephardim. The Sephardim are Arabs that practice Judaism, and then they would, you know, be all, you know what I'm saying, in the Muslims country, and that's where they prosper. Sephardim prosper in Muslim controlled countries. They don't prosper, men, in the Christian countries. You know, you see what happened to them in the Christian countries when they had to wear the yellow badge and got it and got robbed. You know, we know that Hitler had 20 Ashkenazi generals, you know what I'm saying, in his army and so forth, and that Ashkenazi was part of, you know, Hitler's army. You know, I can easily document that and bring that out, but that don't, you know what I'm saying, that ain't, you know, no big thing. You know what I'm saying? Well, what the big thing is that, you know, these two groups been battling over the Israelite heritage and been doing it through proxy religions. Been doing it through proxy religions, and Israelites don't know, and Israelites believe in the proxy religions that these groups created, man, to fight against each other. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's like, man, I be tripping in how history and people miss this. That's like during the Crusaders, during the Crusaders wars for the Promised Land, you know, and Jaffa is one of the spots. You know, during the Crusaders wars for the Promised Land, you know what I'm saying? Islam and Christianity fighting over the Promised Land. All right, where was the Jews at when these two religions were fighting over the Promised Land? Where was the Jews? Where was Ashkenazi in the Sephardim when the Crusader Wars was taking over and taking place? Where were they at? Where were they at? They were somewhere kicking back in the background, watching they organizations and groups and religions battle each other, you know what I'm saying, for the Promised Land. You know what I'm saying? That's what they was doing. That's what they was doing. And like I say, Christianity, the Christians is a creation of Ashkenazi, and they use it to uproot the Sephardim from the land, who are definitely infused with the Edomites. You know, definitely infused with the Edomites. You know, and I can show this. Let me show this real quick. How the Sephardim who function, the Sephardims that function in Muslim controlled, Arab controlled countries, because they are Arabs. They just practice Judaism. They are Edomites that practice Judaism. And then how did they function? Men up under Islamic rule real good and get blessed and get, matter of fact, pointed the Islamic leaders in the past, the Kafites' helper, his visors, his interpreters, his most important administrators were Sephardims back then. But look, Israelites, look, during the after the Greeks, you know what I'm saying, where the Greeks, you know, kind of like was on the wing of losing their power and so forth, after the so-called Alexander the Great generals, you know, divided, you know what I'm saying, his empire up the Promised Land and so forth, and then the generals, you know, groups fighting, you know what I'm saying, over the Promised Land, and how certain Jews, you know, sided with, you know, that's like the Sephardim, the Sephardim mostly sided with the Ptolemies and the Greeks, you know what I'm saying, and did prosperous up under them. And then how that the Ashkenazi gonna function under the Seleucids and prosper up under them and spread it out, man, up under them. All right, one of the man, I explained where the Hasmoneans come from. I got a video, man, about them, you know, the Nethinims, the Hasmoneans, and how them groups are really Amorites and Edomites and so forth. All right. Minister this dude named John Harnicus in 130 BC. You know, in 130 BC, you know, under Seleucid control, man, they was having a good time. All right, you know, this John Harnicus, man, converted the whole Edomites, all the Edom, man, he converted all Edom, man, to the Israelite heritage. You know, look, John Harnicus' first conquest was invasion of Transjordan. You know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, Jordan is in the promised land now, because them Edomites got our heritage way back then. The Edomites got our heritage way back then and got totally into the Israelite heritage. This in the BC days. You know, Transjordan, you know, and that's like Jordan owned the Edomites in Jordan. The Jordanians own West Jerusalem, or the west part, man, of the promised land that belonged to us. Hebron belonged to us. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem belonged to us. Bethlehem belonged to us. Wherever Edom is at in the promised land, that land belonged to us Israelites. And now Almighty, y'all gonna give it to us. Watch, he gonna give it to us. Look, all right, John Harnicus' mercenary army led a siege in the city of Medeba and took it, all right, after 6 months siege, you know what I'm saying, to the north, Al-Shachim, Mount Gerizim, all right, and destroyed the Samaritan temple. And all right, John Harnicus also, look, Harnicus also initiated a military campaign, man, against the Edomites. That's Edom, the many Edomites. During this campaign, Harnicus conquered, he conquered the cities and other island towns. Harnicus then instituted forced conversions on the Edomites to Judaism. He ain't say how many, he forced them all into Judaism. You know what I'm saying? Now some of them will break away and then go off into Islam, and then that's what them will be the Jews that kicked it with Muhammad and gave him the Israelite story and information, and then how a religion would be created from that. Man, I got that documented. Matter of fact, I got that documented on Facebook real thoroughly, and I'm gonna go start making videos about the Sephardim Jews. They kicked it with Muhammad, and then that's how he got familiar with the Israelite history, and then, you know, Islam sprang off. Well, look, them two groups, Islam and Christianity, been fighting proxy wars. You know what I'm saying? They been having a proxy war going on over the Israelite heritage, and then what then happened now? And look, let me show you this. Look how Ashkenazi took control of the Sephardims, control over the Israelite heritage. Because remember, we abandoned our heritage to the Sephardims. First, when Ashkenazi coming to the promised land during the Babylonian wars under the name Scythian, he didn't have no Israelite knowledge. And then how the Sephardims had the Israelite knowledge. I don't want to be jumping around. Let me show that, and then I'm going to get back to showing how Ashkenazi took the Israelite heritage from Edom, just like the prophet said. Just like the prophet said, how Canaan, because the Amorites and Edomites are one, and then how they would be servants to Ashkenazi in Shem house. But let's show how the Sephardims, the Sephardims got into the Israelite heritage. And then after we ran out for Egyptian religion, tricked out the promised land by the Egyptians, then those groups would get our heritage. And then they would start battling each other by proxy. See, they smart. They ain't gonna fight each other head up. They ain't gonna fight each other head up. And how did they went and created groups, man, to do that? And that's why all your secret organizations and secret societies in the Western Hemisphere come from. That's their origin. That's their origin right there. Is that those two groups have been fighting against each other by proxy, and they created proxy groups, man, to battle each other with. You see, but then Ashkenazi finally wrestled control and kind of like slick put an end to that. But the Sephardis, Edomite, proxy religious machine still cranking and still running, and it looked like they finna get revenge on Ashkenazi. But Ashkenazi can save themselves. They can save themselves. They can save themselves if they listen to me. If they listen to me and cooperate with the Israelite Brotherhood, Edom shall not be victorious. Edom shall not be victorious. I promise you that. All right, look here. All right. This is the Sephardim coming into our heritage. And then I'm going to show how they went to the Passover dinner under King Hezekiah. And then how that they stayed in our heritage, practicing our heritage after we was driven out. I already got a video showing how that they was the Nethinims, and then how that they tricked Joshua. You know what I'm saying? That they tricked Joshua. These are Amorites right here that's infused with all the tribes that we Israelites were against. They even got infused with the Moabites and the Ammonites, as I proved that the Amorites took over the Moabites and the Ammonites. You know, Heshbon. You know what I'm saying? Man, I got videos going into all this. I'm covering the Israelite heritage all the way around. Man, I'm 365 with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm 360 degrees, 365. All right. In the king, this is 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutter and from Abel and from Hamath and from Sephardim. I just showed you how that word translated to Sephardi, and then how that they was from Sippar. They was from Sippar right there. Sippar, man, is where that they was from. Well, they was from the whole Babylonian area and the founders of it. But they main spot was Sippar, man. This is where they kept all the gods' history, Norjal, Murdoch, Nabu, and a whole few other ones. And they kept the history of their gods. They created capitalism there, meaning that spread and took control of the whole Western culture that the whole Western culture functioned off of. Well, I mean, it comes from here, right here, Sippar. You know what I'm saying? Even the naming of the streets, the judges, the lawyers, and how the whole administrative structure function and what they call democracy come from them folks right here. Democracy is an Amorite created terminology meant to mislead folks, and that democracy ain't nothing but the Babylonian culture being spread. Whenever they say we going to spread democracy, and democracy is spread here and there, well, that's just spreading the Amorite Babylonian culture everywhere. You know, all the sin and all the wickedness and everything. I'm even caught up in they sin, and it's rough. Man, it's rough fighting they sin. You know what I'm saying? Man, the lustfulness and men being caught up in that, man. Hey, everybody, man, weak to some form of the Canaanite culture. All we can do is pray about it. Almighty Yah, man, is making me strong. You know? All right. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutter and from Abel and from Hamath and from Sephardim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. All right, they gonna be in our heritage all the way up till we was driven out the land. That's 722 BC, man. Let's go look and see these strangers that was placed in our land from Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Well, what was they doing under King Hezekiah? Under King Hezekiah time. And if you read 2 Chronicles 30, you know, this is in 715 BC. You'll see that all the tribes were still at home, and that we even escaped the Assyrians, that the Jewish myths perpetrate and try to say that the Israelites was all kidnapped and taken away. See, as you read this, man, and then you get down to verse 6. So the post went with the letters from the king and his princes throughout all Israel and Judah, according to the commandment of the king, saying, Ye children of Israel, turn again unto the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and he will return to the remnant of you that are escaped out of the hands of the kings of Assyria. You know, the Assyrians would be destroyed not too long after this, and the Israelites were still at home. And I show how the tribe of Ephraim, how we had a covenant with the Syrians taking all into Egypt, and how that whole 10 lost tribe history and myth is garbage, and how it come from those Babylonian scribes. But look here, during 715 BC, them folks was at the Passover dinner, and they had been in our heritage 7 years from being placed in 722 BC. And then if you get over here to 2 Chronicles 25, chapter 30, verse 25, you will see it says, and all the congregation, because King Hezekiah was having the Passover dinner, and he was calling all the Israelites to come to the Passover dinner, and we was coming to the Passover dinner. And then the strangers that was placed in Samaria and other places in 722 BC came to the Passover dinner. And then that's how the Passover tradition been passed down, man, continuously to the day. It's because those folks was doing it. That's why our tradition, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and all the old holidays that we used to do long time ago, and why it's still being done, is because them peoples was in our land doing our heritage. And that's one of the reasons why Almighty Yah say we'll get a new covenant, because we can't do what we abandoned to them, and then they corrupt it and turn it into something else, and then try to present that as the covenant that Almighty Yah gave to the Israelites. Nah, man, it don't work like that. Almighty Yah smarter than that. Look, and all the congregation of Judah with the priests and the Levites, and all the congregation that come out of Israel, and the strangers come out, let me see, and the strangers that come out of the land of Israel and that dwell in Judah rejoiced. So they was at the Passover dinner, and that's how Passover traditions been passed down, is because, you know, the Sephardim, you know, was in our heritage. Basically, they Amorites, they been in our heritage. Let me show them folks being in our heritage a long time ago, when we first Exodus, how the Amorites got in our heritage. Man, we've been getting tricked left and right, but tricking us is over with if you Israelites listen and follow the Israelite Brotherhood. If you Israelites listen, meaning follow the Israelite Brotherhood, man, the trick is over, because Almighty Yah, man, took me, man, from some horrible, terrible conditions, and I'm able to see. I'm able to see clearly because of the horrible, terrible conditions. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's show, man, the Israelites being tricked by them folks when we come out of Egypt, meaning how did they trick us? Let me see what post is there. The Gabonites tricked us, and the Gabonites were Amorites, and the Amorites are the Sephardi Jews who are infused with Edomites. Man, I can show how the Amorites and Ammon and the Edomites and all them, man, you know what I'm saying, become one. All that's in the Tanakh. Those are your Semitic groups. Those are your Semitic groups. Ashkenazi abused that term now, because all Jews don't fit up under the Semitic term. Ashkenazi don't fit up under the Semitic term. He's not mixed. He's not semi. So he don't fit up under that term, but he been using that to his advantage. All right, here go the Amorites getting in our heritage. And it come to pass, when all the kings which were on this side of the Jordan, look, on this side of Jordan, and in the hills and the valleys and all the coasts in the great sea over against Lebanon, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites heard thereof, they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. But that's because they all fused together. You see what I'm saying? They was all fused together. And Jordan is going to be where Moabites and the Ammonites, was from. But then as you read, you know what I'm saying, it'll tell you how the Gibeonites, put some old dirty clothes on. Look, they did work willingly. Look, and when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard that Joshua had done what Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work willingly and went and made as if they had been ambassadors and took old sackcloth men upon their asses and wines and bottles and old rent and bound up and old shoes and old clothes with their feet and old garments men upon them and all bread of their old provisions dry and moldy. And they went to Joshua, men unto the camp at Gilgal, and said unto him and to the men of Israel, we be come from a far country, now therefore make a league with us. See, they'll trick you. They will trick you, and they tricked us long time ago when we come out of Egypt. They seen how easy it was to trick us. And they seen how easy it was to trick us when we come out of Egypt. And that was the first test coming up against them Amorites, and we failed. And they got lodged in our heritage immediately, because we made them carriers of wood. We made them carriers of wood, and then say that they could be in the temple working and working the temple, men up under the priests and carry water and stuff. Well, them hanging around the temple, and then some of the Israelites might have went into a few of them, and then they hanging around the temple, and then when we get driven out, everything will be theirs. Everything will be theirs. And they Amorites, just like the Sephardim that was placed in the land in 722 BC from Sephardim. They're Amorites. And look, man, let me go to to show that they Amorites. Man, let me go to second Samuel. That'll be 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel. I almost turned right to it. 21. And we're gonna see what it say. Alright. Show that the Gibeonites were Amorites that tricked us. This is 2 Samuel 21. Then there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year, and David inquired the Elohim, and Elohim answered us and said, this is for Saul, for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. You know what I'm saying? And we had made a promise to them. Those are Amorites. You know what I'm saying? Those are the Amorites. And Almighty Yah didn't appreciate us on the Holy Land taking his name in vain. So we had to be punished for that, making the league with them folks, using Almighty Yah's name while he was around and present with us. And then Saul gonna go kill some of them. And then how King David gave all Saul kids up in his portion, you know what I'm saying, to them Gibeonites as compensation for us violating Almighty Yah's name. Look, and the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now the Gibeonites were not, now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remain of the Amorites. See, Amorites. Alright, them Amorites got in our heritage. Those will be the Nethinims. Alright, they will go and create a proxy religion, as I show that John Harnicus converted the Sephardim, Edom, to Judaism. That would be the Sephardim. That'll be these folks right here. That'll be these folks right here. The Sephardim. And the Mazahari Jews. These folks right here. These are Edomites. And they all in Muslim countries. They prosper in Muslim countries, and that's where they live and stay. And then guess what? The Muslims, the red wrath is finna fall on Ashkenazi before long, because now he's surrounded. He's surrounded by them. You know, his proxy groups done lost. You know, America lost in what they call the Middle East. And man, it lost. And now, man, it's finna be some reckoning. Man, it's finna be some reckoning. But guess what? All them wars that was going on and all them peoples getting crunched up and dying was nothing but fulfilling prophecy of how Edom, man, to get it. You know what I'm saying? All that's in the scriptures. All that's in the Tanakh. All right, look. Mazahari Jews, plural Mizraim, ethnic Edat ha-Mezrah, ethnic groups of the East. Ethnic groups of the East, they got chased west by Ashkenazi through pride. Been has the sons of the East, also called Oriental Jews, members of descendants of approximately, look, 1.5 million Jews who live in North Africa in the Middle East. Look, they live in Muslim-held countries and comfortable. Sephardim. Men Sephardim live in Muslim-held countries. Look, let's see what the Jewish library got to say about the Sephardims. They might tell some truth. You know what I'm saying? They might tell some truth. The descendants of Jews who left, look, nah, they ain't telling the truth. Look, the descendants of Jews who left Spain or Portugal, you remember they was chased out by Proxy, by Ashkenazi when they destroyed her Edomite temple in 70, AD. Look, Portugal after the, and then they got expelled, man. I explained how Ashkenazi Catholic Church, the Christianity, expelled them Edomites from Portugal, and that would make them come over to the Americas, and set up the whole Babylonian system. Even though we know that the Amorites been doing trade, the Phoenicians and Amorites been doing trade with the Americas way before that happened. All right, look, expulsion and referred to as Sephardim. The word Sephardim comes whatever. That's false, because Sephardim, they try to always say that, now these are ethnic pointer terms, and that how Ashkenazi, I just showed how Ashkenazi was around during Assyrian times, way before Germany even got its name Germany. The same as how the Sephardims was in Portugal, not in Portugal, but how the Sephardims name existed before Portugal and Spain, and how that they was from Sephardim. Sephardims. See, whenever you read their history, they gonna tell a lie. I'm just trying to find a part where it talk about them Sephardim coming from the Arab countries and so forth. Look, you see, and look, Spain is basically was under the control of the Caliphate, So that's why come Sephardim was there, because wherever Islam go and the Caliphate go, Sephardim is step for step with them, and they helping them. That's how that them religions, I already show how Edom got Judaism, and if Edom is in the Arabias with Judaism, and then that explained how Muhammad got it and how it expanded and became what it is based off Israelite heritage. And them Jews, look, but this tell you, how that those Sephardim function well and did real good, up under the Muslim Moors and Muslim control. Both Muslim and Jews built a civilization based in Cordoba. Those are going to be the Sephardims. That's going to be these folks right here. Jews of Western Africa, Megaherbi descent, especially the Jews community. Those are the Arabic Jews that converted to Judaism, that went throughout North Africa and settled in the Megaherb and all across North Africa, and got there in 70 AD and afterwards when Ashkenazi rap spread. But look, check this out though. I'm gonna show y'all all the people that's connected to Edom. Look, that's in Africa and so forth. Look, Jews of Western Africa, Megaherbi descent, especially the Jewish community in Nigeria. Igbo, the Igbos, Megaherbi West African Jewish community in Nigeria, also claim descent from the Yemenite, Moroccan, and East African Jewish communities. Edom, Megaherbium, Mezrahim, Tanium, Sephardim, Levi, Ethiopian Jews, Beta Israel, all them men connected to Edom and never lost their heritage. They never suffered the curses that Prophet Moses say would be on the Israelites after covenant was broken. But look here, Ashkenazi is surrounded. Ashkenazi is surrounded. Ashkenazi is surrounded by Edom in they proxy religions. You know what I'm saying? And then look, Syria was lost. Look, Syria was lost, which was the key stepping point. They had to get Syria. Ashkenazi had to get Syria. You know what I'm saying? Men, in order to stop and make the other ones collapse, they needed Syria. All right, they lost Syria. They lost Iraq. Man, they can't get in Iran to disable them. That always got a plan to destroy the Ashkenazi element in the Israelite heritage is what they after. The same as, you know, when the Persians were helping the Israelites and so forth, and how that, you know, these folks want to draw Ashkenazi out, and how the Sephardim will prosper and benefit if Ashkenazi was driven out. Then they would have control of the Israelite heritage. That's why come it's two rabbis, it's two chief rabbis instead of one, showing division. Man, this is showing division in the men in their world. Look, there go one. That's David. That's David Lou. That's David Lou. You know what I'm saying? He for the Ashkenazi. He the chief rabbi for the Ashkenazi. And then you got this Sephardic, Yishak some, but he hate us real Israelites. He can't stand us. He's an Amorite. He's an Amorite, Moabite, Edomite, infused. And then he gonna be Semitic. He ain't gonna be Semitic. He ain't mixed like he mixed with all the ancient tribes we Israelites was against. And then that's why they got two chief rabbis, because he was around. His ancestors got placed in 722 BC. In 722, well, really before then, because he an Amorite, they been in our heritage, as I showed how they tricked Joshua. All right, so they been there. They been in our heritage. And then he come up, his folks come up during the Babylonian wars under the name Chaldean, how the Scythians were Ashkenazi, and then how they driven us out. Look, I even got the arrow heads, man, that they driven us, you know what I'm saying, they been finding and stuff that drove us out. And then these Ashkenazis, arrowheads, this is when he come in during the Babylonian wars, but Almighty Yah told him to be there. He told the people from the north to come down and chase us out. So I ain't mad at Ashkenazi. I'm willing to work with them. I'm willing to work with them. It's the Sephardim that, you know what I'm saying, we can't work with, because they Edomites. They Edomites and Amorites, and we forbidden to work with them. But we can work with Ashkenazi. Look, in 1975, on the last day of his digging, man, Professor Nichin Agbat found a 22-foot tower with 12-foot thick walls. And he reasoned that this tower had been involved with the defense of the Babylonian siege. This tower had been built by the Israelites over 2,600 years ago and was constructed to protect Jerusalem's northern border. Near the base of the tower were pieces of charred wood that covered 4 arrowheads, 3 of which are bronze and 1 which is iron. The iron arrowhead was of Israelite origin, but the bronze arrowheads come from the Babylonian army. These arrowheads gave proof that some battle took place in the tower between the Israelites and the Babylonians. And this gives very credibility to the idea that there was a large-scale clash between the two groups. The siege was thought, all right, the arrowheads allow him to accurately date the battle. The type of bronze arrowheads also allow him to narrow down the date of the attacks, because they were of Scythian type, which were arrowheads of Babylonian origin. See, look, Scythian Scythian type, which were arrowheads of Babylonian orchards. This allowed them to narrow it down to a couple of years of the Babylonian siege. See, but look, the arrowheads helped determine the date of the Babylonian siege were Scythian, which were meant that they, all right, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? I already showed you that Ashkenazi is the Scythians, and then how did they chase us out during the Babylonian wars? That's a done deal. But check this out. Ashkenazi is surrounded now because his proxy nation that he created and got control of, you know what I'm saying? When the cowboys took the land from the natives and so forth, and then the United States Army, that's Ashkenazi getting it, and how that the natives was cool with the Sephardim who tricked them out the land, and Ashkenazi didn't come take the Sephardim land from them that they tricked the natives out of with bees and glasses and alcohol, because the Sephardim got technology and developed the schooling and so forth that Ashkenazi needed, man, to get a good start, you know, in the Americas. And then, you know, I explained how the Americas protect the Jewish state is because its founders. All right, what's finna happen is all these nations. Now look, man, America and got whooped up out of Syria by proxy, and then got whooped up out of, you know what I'm saying, that they finna leave in Iraq. They couldn't get a control of Iran and take it down. Man, they lost Afghanistan, and all these Edomite influenced nations that Sephardim function in, even in China. See, Sephardim got pigmentation and look almost something like these folks that olive skin, what he say, that he can go to all these nations, and that's why come you got Jewish converts through all these nations where they gonna be hooked up to Sephardim, the Sephardim, and then how did you know that those nations are in line with the Muslim country, and now Ashkenazi is surrounded. Ashkenazi is surrounded. All North Africa, the whole North Africa, man, is in Islamic hands. Now, when them folks start fighting, you know what I'm saying, there's a whole bunch of groups against the Jewish state, and it's coming from the West Bank or Hebron or those parts where we supposed to settle. You know, where Israelites supposed to settle. And then look, Israelites, let me tell y'all this, that when the Jewish state got control of the promised land, and how they didn't get control of the parts that will fulfill prophecy. They didn't get control of the parts that will fulfill prophecy because they not the Israelites. So Almighty y'all left that door open for it to be fulfilled, and then that's coming to pass now. It's going to have to come to pass. Look here, Ashkenazi is surrounded by all the Muslim countries, and now they finna work it out. Even Jordan done got a gas plan with Egypt and Syria and sending gas into Lebanon. They finna all start working together, and then when war break out between Ashkenazi, see, it's not all the Jews that the Muslims are against or want to fight. It's not all of them, because the Sephardim are there. That's why come they got they bombs, they precision bombs turned on Tel Aviv. It's turned on Tel Aviv because Tel Aviv is where Ashkenazi main control is. Tel Aviv is where Ashkenazi main control is, and they finna tear it up. They finna tear it up, and then that's gonna drive Ashkenazi out. That's gonna drive Ashkenazi out. But guess what can save Ashkenazi from being driven out, and we will diffuse the Palestinian situation, is to place the Israelite Brotherhood in the Promised Land in Hebron. Place the Israelite Brotherhood in Hebron, and we're going to diffuse the whole situation where Ashkenazi won't be at stake no more. But if Ashkenazi don't do that, then Sephardi proxy religion finna take them down. This is the only way to save themselves, is to place the Israelites where we supposed to be. All right, look, check this out. Let's see who got a stake, meaning the Promised Land. You know, asymmetric warfare ain't no joke. You know, asymmetric warfare is designed to overcome a big, massive army. You know, the little bitty army use asymmetric warfare and fight all kind of ways, guerrilla warfare and everything. Man, that'll wear a nation down. That'll wear a big, solid nation down. Even though the Jewish state got nuclear bombs, man, they got nuclear bombs and so forth. They can't use them when them groups using asymmetric warfare and stuff. You know, if a whole lot of missiles and bombs, and they got precision bombs now, then they just gonna be bombing where Ashkenazi at, trying to drive him out. So, you know, Ashkenazi, man, stay on the promised land. It's a clock ticking if they don't hurry up and come fulfill this last prophecy with bringing us Israelites home. And they know Almighty Yah listen to me. Almighty Yah been listening to me, and things that I say be coming to pass. Like the trouble Bill Gates been having with his wife. I pray that he get destroyed. All right. Yeah, man, Bill Gates with forcing folks to take vaccines with the companies that he's supporting, so forth, and behind this viruses and stuff spreading around. Ain't nobody no fool. All right, let's look at Tel Aviv. All right, Tel Aviv, man, is gonna be, you know, they say that Tel Aviv was created off of this guy's book, Herzl something. I mean, I forgot his name, Herzl something, and how that, you know, they created, you know, his saying, you know, and how that the Israelites was on the Gabar River, and then how we were supposed to be, you know, returning to the promised land. Tel Aviv, that's where Ezekiel, man, supposed to have come from or something like that. But anyway, they took the name from an association that us Israelites had in the past in captivity, and then applied that land, men, to the Jews' new homeland. You know what I'm saying? That they call, you know, Israel. And we know Israel is just the people. All right, so then, but as you read the history, man, of Tel Aviv, man, you're going to see that, you know what I'm saying? We know that this gentleman right here, you know, man, I'm cool with some of his descendants, you know, and, man, we're going to work it out. We're going to work it out. We're going to work it out. And then we're going to make him happy. See, but we're going to make him happy. See, he ain't going to be happy right now, man, if his descendants lose they stay or lose their position, man, in the promised land, he ain't going to be happy. He going to turn over in his grave that his descendants are surrounded right now by the Edomites. You know what I'm saying? He a red shield. You know what I'm saying? And how that the Edomites are surrounding the land now, and how that everything that he invested in and tried to get going is on the table now. It's on the table now. Look, that's Baron Abraham Edmund Benjamin James D. Rothschild. All right. Abraham, all right, August 9th, was a French member of the Rothschild banking family, a strong supporter of Zionism. I mean, I got a video about Zionism. His large donations lent significant support to the movement during its early years, which helped lead to the establishment of the state men of Israel. So, you know, everybody know that the Balfour Declaration, and, you know, the Balfour Declaration, and how that they, you know, was involved and, you know, orchestrated and got it going and so forth. You know, hey, we Israelites shouldn't be mad, man, at Ashkenazi, because, you know, Ashkenazi was with the Babylonian Chaldeans, and he did just what Almighty Yah said with chasing us Israelites out the promised land under the name Scythian, when we was worshiping Egyptian religion. And look, one of the most important boulevards, man, the center of, man, attraction, man, in the promised land in Tel Aviv, gonna be, you know, these folks street name after them, and how that's the most important street, you know. And that's all good. You know, we ain't mad. We don't even want to be in them parts. We don't even want to be in Tel Aviv. Ashkenazi can keep Tel Aviv and we'll help him keep it. Just place us in Hebron, in the mountainous region, like Almighty Yah said. Ashkenazi can work with us, but the Sephardi can't. And they know prophecy gonna come to pass. They know prophecy gonna come to pass. Ain't nothing can stop us coming back home, being in the promised land and in the place that we supposed to be in, like Almighty Yah said. Ain't nothing gonna stop that. It's impossible to stop that. Now, what I'm trying to get Ashkenazi to do is wake up and realize the position they in. They know the position that they in. They know that Edom is finna cut a shine on them come soon, and Ashkenazi can be driven out. And then guess what? There's a possibility we can put out, we can get the Sephardis. We can get them. They ain't no problem to get. They got pigmentation. We can show them easily how they come into our heritage. And it's a wrap on them. We'll just take our heritage from the Sephardi groups. If a Sephardi come around me, talking about he an Israelite, I might snap on him. I might snap on him. Sit down somewhere and shut up. That's what I probably say. Sit down and shut up. Well, I might show Ashkenazi a little more respect. But the Sephardi, he ain't got no say. We'll take our heritage from him. The only reason we ain't took our heritage now is because Ashkenazi got it. Ashkenazi is in the lead of our heritage. And let me show you how he took it from the Sephardi groups. I think I just read that. Did I just read that? Let me read it again. All right. The Sephardic ideal has always been understood in terms of political moderation and community unity. That's the Babylonian system, the administrative system. Rarely did Sephardim lose their internal cohesion, that is, until the process of cultural erosion set in. Do you know what cultural erosion is? That's not good. Following the Ashkenazi lead, Sephardim abandoned their traditional culture and adapted to the fractious Ashkenazi model under the rubric of a single Jewish nation. The Sephardi, particularly with its cultural genius and sophisticated social morals, has become a lost value. The Ashkenazi culture, with its deeply unsettled relationship to the larger world, has now become the Jewish standard. They've been having proxy wars, but guess what? Sephardim finna get the last laugh. What he trying to do? He trying to get the last laugh because Ashkenazi is surrounded by him. Man, the promised land is surrounded. Man, it's surrounded. And all it's gonna take is for them to stop their little bitty differences, the Shiites and the Sunnis. Man, put their little differences down, which they doing because Iran is reaching out to them, which is like the headquarters meant for the Shiites. He reaching out to them. Jordan went on and hooked up with Syria and sending all to Lebanon, and Iraq is hooked up with them. Saudi Arabia finna get hooked up with them. The men American and already took his defense missile system out of there. Man, the Houthis been tearing their mouth out. They ready to settle down. And then all them finna join up in Egypt. Egypt, I remember I got a video showing how the Edomites got Egypt a long time ago and how Pharaoh gave Edom some land in Egypt long time ago. Let me see, I might can pull that up. How Pharaoh gave Egypt some land long time ago. You know what I'm saying? But I got it in the video. That's for sure. We ain't gonna be too long with this video. I'm about to shut it down. But how did them folks ain't got no long time? Look, I turn right to it. Look, and there arose let me see. All right, and the Elohim stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad, the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. For it come to pass when David was in Edom, he was tearing their mouth up, and Joab and the captain and the host was gone up to bury the slain. After he had smitten every male in Edom, for 6 months did Joab remained there with all Israel, until he cut off every male in Edom who was tearing their mouth out. Like, we're going to tear their mouth out again. Look, that Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him to go into Egypt. Man, her dad being yet a little child, and there arose out of Medine and come to Paran, and so that's what Ishmael was kicking it at, and Edom went there to kick it with him, and they took men with them out of Paran. That's where Ishmael went when Hagar, man, took off. All right. And they arose out of Medine and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they come to Egypt, men unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, which gave him a house and appointed him victuals and gave him land. See, Edom got land. Edom in Egypt now took Egypt over in 600 AD, one of the first spots, man, they took Egypt over. And then how did the Edomites, all in Libya, all across North Africa, where Ashkenazi ran them too long time ago. Well, them in Muslim countries, they gonna be all right. Guess what? Now, all those countries, when the war start, which is gonna happen because Hezbollah ain't finna let them ride. Hezbollah ain't finna let them ride, and all them other folks, them other organizations that's against the Jewish state is not finna let them ride and keep riding. You know what I'm saying? Because they just won in Syria and demonstrated their military powers. Now they regrouping. Now. And then when the war start, it's gonna be too late. It ain't gonna be no stopping until Ashkenazi get driven out. And they know it. That when it started, that them folks finna be at them, and they gonna be calling Muslims from all these countries, everywhere. Now that the United States and then got whooped out of Afghanistan, they got whooped out of Afghanistan and lost Syria and then lost Iraq and a few other places. Man, then they gave them folks some hard. So now when the war start, man, they finna get it on. They finna try to drive Ashkenazi out. I just showed how Sephardim prosper men up under Islamic control. So it'd be like that the Sephardims are getting the last laugh in the end. They getting the last laugh in the end, and then they might come be submissive to us. Man, there's some scriptures, man, in here in the book of Isaiah, man, that show that, them folks gonna have to work with us. They gonna have to work with us. There's no other question that they gonna have to work with us. All right, this is Isaiah 60. Then thou shalt see and follow together, and then hearts shall fear and be enlarged, because of the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentile shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the drummers, the Medine, even all them folks. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's supposed to come, man, and try to help us when we get back to the promised land and get established. Look, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and the kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentile, that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. So Ashkenazi, if you don't serve us and come on and help the Israelite Brotherhood get established in the promised land, you're going to perish like the Creator said. So y'all better come on, men, and get to helping us so we can go on and get this Israelite issue, bring this whole Israelite issue to an end. We can easily bring this Israelite issue to an end by placing us in Hebron. That's all Ashkenazi got to do, and Ashkenazi got the power to do it. The family got the power to do it. All right, Israelites, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood, and I pray that y'all get an understanding of what's going on and how that they're going to have to come down before long. And, man, I'm going to let you Israelites know when the green light, man, go up, man, I'm going to put a site up, and man, the Tanakh worshipers, man, I'm cool with a whole bunch of them, man, on Facebook. Man, that's going to be the first groups, man, I'm going to start picking from. But we're going to get this show on the road, and we're going to be free one day. Shalom, Hebrews. Much love, and this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood.